So what we're going to do today is first I'm going to do a toning, which I'm thinking of as like a sound bath for everyone. And then we're going to do a short guided meditation, and I'll talk you through that in a little bit. And I don't have a big bell like this. I just brought this little bell right here. I'll see if it works. So when we finish the toning and start the meditation, I'll ring that bell. And when that's okay. I don't know. It's kind of big, Tom. I don't know. It might be beyond me right now. So. Okay, so before we do the toning, I'd like us to all take 3 deep breaths. And when we breathe out, we're going to make the sound of a sigh. So please, if you feel comfortable closing your eyes, go ahead and do that. Please put your feet flat on the floor. That just enables your energy to move more freely and to feel that balance and to feel some more earthing, some more grounding. So let's do our breaths. Let's do the first one. And again. One more time.
No.
Now you may want to keep your eyes closed, and I'm going to ask you to imagine yourself lying on a warm, sunny beach. And there's nobody right around you. It's warm, and the sun is shining, but it's not hot. And off in the distance, you hear the ocean waves crashing, but it sounds beautiful. And you hear them crashing, and also in the distance, you can hear some seagulls off in the sky. And you're lying on the beach, and you can feel your body sort of comfortably sinking into that warm sand. And you can feel completely at peace, completely comfortable in your body lying on the beach with these lovely sounds in your ears and the reassuring crashing in the distance of the waves. And you feel that lovely ocean mist touching and kissing your face, gently washing over you. And you're so grateful to lie there on the beach in perfect, complete bliss. And I'd like you to put your consciousness in your heart center. You don't need to think about where that is, just you know where it is, because this is the place of you, the place of your authentic self, the place of you as pure love, the place of knowingness. And I'd like you to put your concentration there in your heart center. And when you're in your heart center, notice if you see an image. Do you hear music or a sound? Do you hear a message or perhaps see a message or perhaps you hear a word? As you explore your heart center of you, of your love, of your knowingness, what do you receive from this conscious visit into your heart center? You may feel your energy dancing out of pure joy to be there in freedom, moving through your heart center, dancing with the joy of endless love that is you and your true authentic self. Enjoy the dance. Enjoy the flow and the beauty of this energy, and know that this is always there because that is you. That is your true, unadulterated self, your pure place of pure love. Now I'm going to ask you, when you're ready, to go ahead and open your eyes and come back into your body. It was fun visiting the beach. We always love going there. So when you're ready, open your eyes. Well, thank you again for being here. I'm so glad that I have this opportunity to share some of what I've learned as well as the messages from the Tara. So the talk I'm giving today is broken into two parts. Part one is all about our true nature and how to live as love. So I'm going to turn this on. Okay, and we're going to share to get the slides going. So I think everyone here and everyone also in who can hear my voice knows that our true nature is light and love. That is who we truly are. And so we go through our day and maybe we don't always feel that. What is getting in the way of our love? And that's what we're going to talk about in this part one. So the Tara says, "For what you truly are is a magnificent divine being of light and love. When you see people acting in ways that do not reflect this truth, then you know they are under the influence of delusions and misguided beliefs." So what I hope to inspire to each one of us is that we strive to live as our true nature, to live as love. So today is St. Lucia Day, St. Lucy, and you may have seen her depicted. She has the wreath of candles on her head, and she was a Christian martyr in Sicily at a time when being a Christian was against the law. And so under Sicily, under the capital, I believe it's called Syracuse, is this vast catacombs that only is rivaled by Rome. and the Christians were hiding in the catacombs. So she was going and bringing food, and that's why she had the wreath of candles on her head as light to go down into the catacombs. She'd be carrying the food, and she needed, her hands, she couldn't hold a light. So that's why she is depicted with the wreath of light on her head. And to me, that is so appropriate for today. Okay, it's Dick Van Dyke's 100th birthday, but besides that, it is St. Lucia Day, and I think that's inspiration for us also, that we are each bringing light to one another. We are bringing light to those who believe what we believe and those who don't believe what we believe. So when I go out in my day, I will remind myself that I'm going to uplift everyone I come across. And sometimes that's challenging because some people, are not in a good mood. But what I've been finding is that when people are in a bad mood and you come with that intention, somehow they warm up. They seem to feel better. So we each embody divine source energy. So we each embody the same energy, which is source energy, that love energy. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about in this first part, which is what gets in the way of our love expression. And I'm sure you all are aware of the wonderful Jane Goodall, who just passed recently. And I like this quote: "You cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make." So in this new age, so I'm not going to talk too much about the new age itself. What I am focusing on is us as we evolve into the new age. How are we as humans evolving? What is changing for us? And one of the major changes that we are going through right now is that we are leading with our heart center as opposed to our rational mind. So we were trained to lead life with our rational minds. And so we judge and we say, this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. Oh my gosh, we look at each other and we say, oh, that something's wrong with them, and you look down on people because that's the way we were all raised. We also were raised with this definition of success. I'm going to strive and be a success, and that means you have a nice car, you have a nice house, and all those definitions that we were raised with. And so now with this new age, that is what is evolving and changing, is looking at those definitions and those concepts and perceptions and saying, okay, now we are becoming finer humans. And how is that happening? It's by focusing on our heart center as opposed to our rational mind. So changing patterns is very difficult. And so that's why we're going to walk through some good ways or some good guidance for how to do that. Also, a spiritual mentor of mine in the 1980s, he used to use this term. He would say, if you want to tap into your psychic gifts, which we all have, you need to push aside your rational mind. And I love that because it implies this effort. You need to push that out of the way. And, we need to keep pushing it out of the way. So going back to what gets in the way of our love, I think we're all aware that our emotions are triggered. They raise the thoughts in our mind, and then sometimes we get those loops. Somebody did something to me. I can't get that out of my head, and it's making me feel bad that this person did this to me. And so this reaction, this looping reaction, clouds our love. And so we can continue with these negative thoughts. Sometimes it just gets in your head and, I can't believe that person treated me that way. And why did they say that to me? And we can, be affected by that. So I start each day with this mantra, which just helps me getting my head in the right place, which is, I am divine source energy, fully embodied in this physical form and anchored to Mother Earth. So I remind myself, I am divine source energy, and I'm in this body, and of course we have to take care of these bodies too, we know that. So let's go through just briefly a few very helpful resources. The first one is meditation. So meditation is essential for spiritual development. It's time that you're taking for yourself. It's a gift that you're giving to yourself. It can be 5 minutes, 15 minutes, however long you have to spend You need to build this into your daily life. It's really important. And, you know, we spend so much time focusing on the outer world, and we tend to neglect the inner, that rich inner self, which is where our true self lives. And so this is to go inside, to go to that within, is where we connect to our guides and larger knowingness and the ultimate truths and such. So again, another quote from the Tara says, "It is really not possible for you to make significant progress without meditation. Meditation gives you time to connect with yourself and with the higher truths. If you do not take time for this, then you will keep your focus on the outside world and all its distracting details. When you focus on the exterior, you focus on the world of illusion, which I often refer to as Maya." It's a term she uses a lot. And this is from the Bhagavad Gita, which is amazing, that this ancient book, and we might think of it as alien and foreign, but it has very practical wisdom to it. And if you're not familiar with it, it's kind of like the Hindu Bible. It's their main text, spiritual text. And the Gita says, "You are being called to dedicate life to walking with God, with your true self in the light. Orient your life this way and dedicate everything you do to serving God. To assist with this aim, create a set of routines and practices that you can perform daily that will help you to stay on track with your intention. With your actions dedicated to God with fearlessness and steadfastness, with the mind controlled and anchored in me, meditate with me as the ultimate goal." The second resource is mindfulness. Now, this is a term that is tossed around so much, it's kind of lost some meaning. So what does mindfulness mean? You know, they have classes and you can take courses and all that on mindfulness. What it means is that you remain aware. So you're keeping your awareness alive in each moment. And I love this. The Dalai Lama describes the aspects of the Buddha, because like Jesus, so Jesus said, "You're going to do what I'm doing, and you're going to go greater than this. You'll be greater than this. So you'll follow in that path, and you will also walk those paths and even go beyond." And the Buddhists also believe that you will become, each one of us is on the path to becoming a Buddha. And what are the qualities of the Buddha? Well, I love this one. This is only one of them. He obviously goes into great detail. And he says, "To be perpetually in samadhi, free from all darkening and focused on the ultimate reality." And samadhi is described as a state of intense concentration achieved through meditation, a state of union with the divine. So samadhi is also a term that the Hindus use, which I find that interesting, that the Hindu and the Buddhist so overlap so much of the time. But I've bolded "free from all darkening" because that is a term that I remind myself of every day, you know, because I will get irritated at something. Oh, my love is getting darkened, and I'm getting pretty good. But one thing that I find in my darkening is when I'm driving. You know, somebody cuts me off, and there's nobody behind me, right? And I'm like, why did you cut me off? You could have I'm slamming on the brakes so I don't hit this person, and I get irritated. Or the other one that really gets me with my darkening is somebody's on my bumper, and I can't go any faster. There's traffic in front of me, there's traffic on the right, and this person's right on my bumper. And I start going, what is that person doing? Oh, that person. Oh my gosh. And then I start looking at that person, and my darkening increases. Look at that person. That person's a moron. Look at that guy. And then my darkening, pretty much that's my love is completely covered over by that point. So to remind myself to be free from all darkening means we're a being of love and light. And when you say light, that's the visual of the love, is that we are these bright beings of love, and not to allow ourselves through each day, no matter what we're doing, no matter what people say to us, no matter what people do to us, that we do not allow any darkening of ourselves. And the Tara talks about remember to remember. And I think of it as contextualizing. Mindfulness is contextualizing. So I'm going through my day, I'm doing all whatever I'm doing, and I'm thinking thoughts, and I'm, my to-do list and whatever. But it's within the context of the higher truths and the ultimate reality. So you don't lose that overarching, those truths that are the ultimate, that we are a part of. We are an integral part of. So the third resource, this is my last one, is stillness, a place of oneness and peace. And so we're getting up to Christmas. It's very close now, and one of the most famous Christmas carols is Silent Night. Of course, that was originally written in German, and the name of it in German is Still Nacht, Still Night. And so it describes this quiet, nothing's moving, everything's quiet and still. And that's not what I'm talking about here at all. And I love this definition from the Japanese, a concept for serenity, tranquility, or stillness that implies an active, mindful calm rather than just the absence of noise. It represents a state of being present, aware, and focused, even amid chaos. The term emphasizes finding inner peace and a balanced, purposeful calm that allows for clear thinking and focus. And the Japanese artist who posted this had examples, and I love this one example is of a captain of a ship. And the ship it's in this terrible storm, it's getting tossed, and all the people on the ship are in, their lives are in the hands of that captain. And the captain has this saijaku, has this stillness and this calm with all this storm going on around. And I think that's really important when you've got deadlines, you've got your job concerns, and you're in a rush and you're doing this. Because so often, I don't know about you, but I always mess up when I try to rush. It's like, I drop something or I forget something or whatever it is. And so this state of stillness is very important for keeping us centered and calm amid the storm of daily life. So now I'm going to walk through some steps that we can use to achieve a pure heart. So it doesn't mean that your heart isn't pure. It might be pure, but it's a way to connect and develop a pure relationship with our heart center. So each one's heart over past lives, we might have put up shields and guards and protections for our heart center. That's possible, but pretty much you can imagine, such as when you visited today in the meditation, that your heart is this beautiful, clear center. And so when I talk about a pure heart, I'm really talking about our relationship to our heart, that we create a pure, loving, open relationship with our heart. So number one, set the intention to achieve a pure heart. So that's the only way you can do anything, is you have to say, I am going to achieve a pure heart. Watch your thoughts and patterns of thinking. This is a big one because we're still in those patriarchal patterns that we were raised in, of judging others and seeing things in a negative light. And so you have to coach yourself and catch yourself and say, that pattern came up. Oh no, I want to reverse that. I don't want to fall into that pattern. And so truly we are all one. And I'm going to read a little bit from the Tara, page 29, bottom of the page. Unity consciousness is simply recognizing the fact that all are connected. All people, animals, plants, rocks, water, air, etc. All moves forward in time as one organism. The distinct parts cannot be separated in life on the planet. All moves as one. This basic fact is not recognized by a great multitude who still strive to win over others, to win the game, to look down on others and be the winner that stands above. This perspective looks childish now, like a youngster who refuses to grow up, refuses to accept the basic realities of life. This childish perspective is still pervasive and puts its stamp on ideologies and practices that continue to be carried out despite the clear realities that govern life and nature. And so the second part of watching your thoughts is thinking negatively about oneself. Oh, you're so stupid. Why did you do that? Right? We say those in our heads. We talk to ourselves that way. And they've done studies that show that people talk worse to oneself than they do to other people. We will say bad things to ourselves and that we would never say to someone else. So you really have to watch this. And a lot of this comes out of these outmoded ideals and values. So, we feel that we're not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good looking enough. I'm not skinny enough. We have a huge body image, especially here in America. You know, I'd love to know the percentage of women over 50 who say they have a perfect body, right? Because we have these unrealistic images that this is the perfect body, and this body that you have, it's not perfect. Instead of saying, you know, my body, everything works. Wow, it's amazing. It's the most incredible body ever. And of course, going back to the definitions of success. So please remember that anything other than love is not your true nature. So number 3 is right action. Treat everyone, everything with respect and kindness. Stay vigilant and mindful. Be aware of your thoughts as they pass by each moment. Watch them passing. What are these thoughts that are coming through my mind? And habits are ingrained in us, and so we must maintain vigilance. We have to stay on top of this if we want to achieve this pure heart, if that is our intention. And also we can use this technique. It's called point of focus for mind clearing. So we think of the mind as a room, and what is in this room. So you put this point of focus in your room of your mind. I see it as a little square box, but point, you think it should be round. But anyway, you put this point in your mind, and you look and you see what's in my mind. So your mind should be open and clear and not have junk. It shouldn't be junky up. It is. And so we have to clear it out. We have to say, oh, this is what's in my mind. I'm going to clear it out. I'm going to use my energy and make it lovely and clear and open. Okay, now I'm going to move on to part 2, which focuses on this book, Messages from the Tara. And as Tom said, I did bring some to sell today. If you want to buy one, they're also available on Amazon if you'd rather order it online. And so Tom was saying, how did somebody meet the Tara? How did this happen? And so I'll tell you the story of how I met her. I was studying Buddhism, and my teacher works with the Dalai Lama. He was his translator for many years, and the Dalai Lama he actually asked my teacher to teach because his English is incredible. And I think my teacher begrudgingly said, okay, I'll teach. He is a Geshe-la level Tibetan monk. And so the Dalai Lama one day came to my teacher and said, okay, I want all my teachers to teach their students about the Tara and the Tara mantra, and also there's a ritual that goes along with it. And so I was having a very tough time. I was living in Charlottesville, and I was walking along the Rivanna River. There's a lovely walk on both sides of the river. And I was saying this mantra over and over and over again, which is what the monks do. They just repeat it over. And so I'll tell you, the mantra is Om Tara Tutare Ture Soha. And it translates to, the Tara is the liberator. She liberates followers from samsara, suffering, and problems. The word tutare indicates liberation from fear, while ture refers to liberation from disease. The word soha establishes the route of the path that leads to liberation from suffering. So I was repeating this over and over and over again, trying to overcome my suffering. And before I got to the 250 bridge, Route 250, she appeared in front of me, floating in a seating position, and her 21 emanations each were in a disc, a circle, under her in a shape of a crescent. And she talked to me, and I asked her some questions, and we chatted. And she asked me if I would write down a message from her each day. And I didn't know how to say no. So, and, I didn't really know what I was getting into, because a message, hey, pick up a gallon of milk at the store. I don't know, what's the message? What's going to be in these messages? She didn't say. She didn't describe it or say anything about it. She didn't say how long it would take. Just, would you take a message each day? And I said, yes. So I started taking a message from her each day. And so Tom already described how the Tara is viewed by mainly people in the East. They're familiar with her. In the West, people are like, who's Tara? What's this Tara thing? I don't get it. So she is considered the female emanation of the Buddha. So how she describes herself is, I send my infinite, this is from page 1. This is how she starts this book. Actually, technically, she went through all the messages, and then when she finished, she didn't say, that's it, I'm finished, that's over. I just knew it. I knew intuitively that the messages, that was the end of the messages. I'll read it later. But she so when she finished her messages, she decided that she was going to go back and add an introduction. So what you see at the beginning of the book was added after the messages were transcribed. And she says, I send my infinite blessings upon all, upon the earth, throughout eternity, throughout all dimensions of time and space. I am ever present as an energy of consciousness. I am an immense electrical energy of consciousness. When people mention someone having high energy, this is what they mean, actual electrical energy. And then she says, I bring you this book of messages to help support you on your human journey. So she goes into greater detail. So I didn't realize that when I was doing these messages, it would become a book, but it became apparent. And also something that's not really included in the book is she also instructed me to explore my past masteries. And so each day she instructed me how to do it. She said, you look over your life, your past lives, and it's this green, verdant landscape. And tucked into this landscape are these jewels, and they were faceted. If I were a jeweler, I'd know what kind of facet that's called. They were round, faceted jewels, and each one was a different color. And so I would pick a jewel each day, and I would dive through that jewel, and I would end up in who knows where, I would all different ages. Mostly I was a man. Then, of course, I was female in some lives, and I would look at that mastery from that life. And so I would write the date, and I would write the color of the jewel, and then I'd write a synopsis of that past mastery, and then I would say the message, and then I would sit back and I would tune to the Tara. So when you're channeling, there are some channelers that just crack me up. They just do all kinds of like dog and pony show, because it's so amazing that I'm channeling. We each can do it. Every one of us can do it. There's nothing special. So what I like to describe it as tuning the radio. So you tune the radio, you say, I want that channel. What's that plays that classical music? You turn the dial and you say, oh, that's the channel I want. Oh yeah, I like that music. And it's the same with channeling anybody or talking to anyone. It's you just tune into it. And there's a couple channels that crack me up. One guy, he's pretty well known, and he does this, he goes, and he makes all these crazy noises before he can channel, like that's part of it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And this other woman does like this crazy language. Well, my perspective is crazy. I'm sure, I don't know if it's crazy, but she kind of goes, and she does this, made up language, whatever. And that's part of the channeling. And I'm like, ooh, that's so impressive, isn't it? But actually it's nothing special. We all have this ability. It's just to get your conscious mind out of the way and then tune your radio, and you've got it. You have this in you. It's not, don't need to learn how to do it, and you don't need anybody else to show you how to do it. This is part of you. So when she completed her messages, she went back and added the intro. I was surprised that she added a chapter on surrender, because surrender. See, I was like, surrender? I don't understand why she's adding this. But she says, surrender involves allowing the sacred to take over and relinquishing hold on control, winning, being dominant, and being the one calling the shots. When you relinquish control, you open the doors to divine light, and you align yourself with the higher will, the higher truths. Surrendering begins first in the mind, the rational sense of thought and decisions. Each one must consciously decide that they want to ascend as a divine being, and must recognize that surrender is needed to make this progress occur. Without complete surrender, the spiritual seeker will continually wrestle with their intellect, with details, with their aspirations, and with their dreams. For a person may be aware of their higher self's calling, but may be reluctant to relinquish control. After lifetimes of effective training, renouncing a sense of control is typically challenging. Modern humans still cling to the belief that they control their destiny, their lives, that they pull the strings and make the puppets dance. But these are all misplaced beliefs. The only way to live is through love and devotion. These are the beliefs, the actions that must lead a person's life. Love is the motivating factor that runs life and consciousness. Anything that does not fit with love is a distraction, an impediment, and comes from delusions that control people without their awareness. These delusions comprise networks of beliefs that people have learned in their lives and also carry from previous lifetimes. Delusions or confused beliefs bring suffering, for they generate thoughts and actions that do not fit with the way of truth, the way of love. So for me, I would add to surrender, I would add receiving. And so this comes from a conversation I had with another guide. And he was explaining that I was talking to him about the 1111 portal. So what's with this 1111 portal? He said, and he was talking about receiving. You know, we as modern humans, we're going, we're doing, we're planning, we're being productive each day. If we're not productive, we're like, oh, I didn't do anything today, you know, and you like feel shame. I wasn't productive at all. I didn't get anything done. But receiving is the opposite of that. It is opening the self and saying, I receive the blessings of the universe. I receive the beauty. I receive the joy. And that is something I think, I don't know about you, but for me, I need to remind myself about that because I'm so used to going and doing and all of that. And so I think it's important to remind ourselves to be open to the blessings of the universe, to inspirations, beauty, and joy. So how to walk your path. The Tara says, this is why it is so essential to remain balanced. Do not be caught off balance, but remain anchored in the center of you. This requires that you do not give too much importance to outside influences. It does not mean cutting off the outside world, but rather seeing it for what it truly is, the structures through which your higher self is experiencing. With this corrected perspective, you gain greater power, which is derived from within. You remain intact even when those around you attack or denigrate you. You soon realize that you are larger than any outer influences, for you are truly infinite in every sense of the word. So your powers, knowledge, abilities, and gifts are also infinite. You simply must tap into your true self, not only from this life, but from the vast past, where your masteries are infinite. We higher beings call upon the earth humans to follow these teachings and not be satisfied with the ordinary, limited perspectives. These do not serve you, and they do not help this planet. When each person develops their finer abilities, this benefits all life on the planet and across the cosmos. Each person generates energy in a constant flow. Be always mindful of what you create and generate. Take note of your fears. Ooh, I'm really working on that myself. Take note of your fears, anxieties, sadness, envy, and insecurities. These are energies that do not serve you or generate positive energy. Teach yourself to maintain higher thinking and an ever positive outlook, and be aware of those thoughts that cloud your bright light. And she says, this is where your abundance, health, and sureness is derived. So she really stresses going within, which again goes back to meditation, connecting to your inner self, that's the true you, and living as yourself, as your true nature, which is love. Okay, this from the Tara really kind of blows my mind. So what she says is, if you are sad, so I was talking about someone doing something to you, like someone's done something to you and it makes you feel sad because they weren't nice to you. So you feel sad as a reaction, and that's normal, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what she's emphasizing is we each have free will. And therefore, if we allow ourselves to be sad, that's our choice. So if you're suffering from depression, you are allowing that to happen, which I think most of us do not see life that way. She says, for much too long, humans have allowed themselves to be oppressed by sadness that is not theirs. They don't recognize that they have willingly taken on these shadows through their free will. And just just as they have taken on these shadows freely, they also have the power to free themselves. It is all a matter of choice. Some might say this is oversimplified. Life is much more complex. How can solutions be created so easily? But I tell you that this is so. Humans always have the choice of selecting light or shadow. Why do they so often select shadow? This is simply delusion and perhaps ignorance. People may not know how life truly works. Yes, people do not know how their own life actually functions. From this place of ignorance, they allow shadow energies to take over their paths, often to the point where they cannot see anything beyond the shadows that infest their reality. But humans need to recognize that they have allowed this. They are not victims. They have chosen to wallow in the shadows, and they possess the power to free themselves in simplicity and love. Leaders can describe this process, this liberation, to those who suffer needlessly. But no one can liberate another from their delusions and shadows. It is the free will of each individual. However, remember that when the energy is raised, the entire planet benefits. So when humans raise the energy in their lives, the plants, animals, minerals, air, water, land all benefit. For it is the humans on this planet that hold to the shadow energies. It is the humans who propagate the non-beneficial energy that life is forced to experience. The web of life moves through everything, similar to what Native Americans describe. This web holds whatever energy is generated. Each has reached a place where the shadow energies that have been and are still generated need to be cleaned up, cleared out, and transmuted into energies of divinity, into light and love. She goes on in another chapter to say, humans see themselves as so small, insignificant individuals who do not make a difference. This kind of thinking leads to depression and even suicide because a person tells themselves that they don't matter. All of this is false. You each are part of the great whole, of a luminous fabric that constitutes the energy of life and creation. You each are an integral part of this whole. Without you, there is a hole in the fabric, and your unique gifts cannot benefit the planet and cosmos. People will fight over their possessions and dominion, but typically will not fight for their true self. Most are content barely knowing who they truly are, and often not spending much, if any, time caring for and nourishing who they truly are. Your growth as a human will accelerate when you tune in regularly to your within self, the you that resides within you and writes your story. So I remind myself of this also, that if I'm feeling a little blue that day, oh, you made that choice. If something's bothering you, you made that choice, and you can usually gratitude is a great way to turn around. If you're feeling a little blue, or you're feeling a little down, going into gratitude can really, really help with transmuting that energy. So, cultivating joy in each day. And I think we all would love more of that in our lives. Some people have it naturally, but a lot of us probably struggle with feeling happiness and feeling like, oh, I'm really happy with each day. It's so amazing. And I do try to look at each day as an opportunity. Today's a new day. It's an opportunity because it's a new day. Constantly weed, on page 55, constantly weed the garden of your mind, your habits, practices, actions, and feelings. Make sure no weeds are growing which can choke the light, dull its shine, cloud the luster. Strive each day for greater joy, even when this seems challenging, when circumstances present less than happy turns. It does not matter what life presents to you. Maintain your joy and high-mindedness despite whatever occurs. Whew, that's a tough one. This approach will turn everything to gold, for then you are filling your life with the golden light of you. Make lemonade from lemons. This requires mental and emotional maturity. Moving ahead on your path means that you are then more able to accomplish this strategy, for then you are coming from a place of advanced and more illumined perspective. Each person's light grows greater as they advance up the spiral of evolution. As each person's light becomes greater, it becomes easier to infuse this light into every aspect of life. This becomes second nature, and other people can see this light in some way, though they may not describe what they see in this way. People sense the sharing of light from an illumined one and respond typically with happiness and a feeling of well-being. All humans are connected, which is why it is so important to share the light of self with others in any possible way. This light spreads through the connections and out into the great web that holds all. When people say that humans are social animals, this is very true because people in essence need to relate with other aspects of oneself, the me in you. So it was interesting studying Buddhism and hearing about the monks who were kidnapped and held in horrible prisons by the Chinese. And so they don't believe, first of all, you're not going to blame or hold these guards as anything less than the same as you, right? Because we're all equal. And so a lot of them talked about it was challenging. It challenged their Buddhist beliefs of, you love everyone no matter what they do to you. So they're torturing these monks and they are striving to hold on to their Buddhist beliefs. And hopefully we don't have those sorts of challenges. But certainly it is important to keep holding on to joy and to cultivate that in each day into our lives. So, living as unbounded love. The Tara says, my love is complete and moves continually in all directions with no bounds. This is how all humans should function. The love must be unbounded rather than directed to a select few in one's life. This love must radiate out from you as a bright light, a constant light, a light that reaches far and embraces everything it encounters. Humans continue to limit themselves with thoughts of worry, lack, and busy activities. All the busyness gets in the way of the great light of self. This busy life becomes a prison of thought and deed that holds a person solidly bound in the confines of distraction. When people are distracted, they lose sight of the ultimate truths, of themselves, of their true natures, of the joy that fills each moment. For within life, there is only joy, joy in the process, the continuance, the flow of love, the cause and effects. So she says this busy life becomes a prison of thought and deed. Oh my goodness. We certainly don't want to be in any sorts of prisons. We want to be free and liberated and open, and that involves, I believe, some amount of surrender, that you allow the surrender to occur. So as I said, I'm not really talking too much about the New Age and what it will be. I'm just going to share some of her perspectives. And focus more on ourselves as we change into this New Age. So she says, discussion is an important part of building the New Age. Passing on inspiration and ideas helps to spur and awaken others. Continue sharing your visions for the planet. Network, share, and discuss the visions that fill you with inspiration and passion. These new and inspired visions must be discussed and shared in order to make them become reality. Only these ideas take hold among a significant Once these ideas take hold among a significant percentage of humans, they will be adopted and laws will be adapted. You can see the new net of light overtaking the old patterns. Now they appear with the new laid on top of the old, but the old will recede and sink into history. Share your dreams and visions and strive to inspire others through discussion of the new ways. Do not hold back praise for those you view as leaders for this new age. This will help to spread their message and also help to support those leaders emotionally. So she goes into some description of the New Age, and so it's fairly short, but I'll just read how she describes it. When this powerful energy of love pervades the planet and people's way of thinking, then the great golden age will rise up in its radiance and glory. There will be many practical changes that humans will establish. We have discussed these changes before, but I will review. And she mentions 3 different points. The first is food. Food is dependent on nature, and when people are more in tune with nature, they will be more in tune with the food they eat and how their food is grown and harvested. This may not seem like a large concern, but people eat every day. Humans need food to survive, and human survival must become more harmonious with all of creation. 2, becoming in tune with nature, honoring nature, living in the flow of natural rhythms. People will create new ceremonies that reflect the renewed relationship. These ceremonies will be updated versions of ceremonies celebrated by ancient people going back thousands of years. Ceremonies, holidays, from the old age will eventually fade away and not be relegated to the history books. And be relegated to the history books. People will honor nature and show their appreciation and respect through these new holidays. 3, the infrastructure of humans will be in harmony with nature so that pollution and waste are not produced from any aspect of life, including travel, housing, communication, and business. Business has traditionally been carried out with the sole purpose of making money, but this will change as well. Yes, people will develop businesses that provide needed items and services, but working solely for money and building wealth will fall away from society. More equitable systems will be developed and established in which people can more easily pursue their personal happiness. And she says leaders are needed to spark these ideas in the masses, to introduce new concepts that are enlightened and solve issues that face modern people. This is why I address leaders in my messages, which she does a lot, which I'm not really emphasizing today, but she talks a lot about the leaders of this new age and qualities and tries to inspire them. Leaders are needed not only with messaging and inspiring others, but also to introduce new technologies, new habits, new policies that will lead humanity into a revolution of change. And she also says, for all people will benefit from the new age and its equitability. This age is not referred to as golden because some people will get rich, but rather that the age itself is a rich time of plenty and promise. This will be a renaissance for humanity in such a way that has rarely, if ever, been seen. So I'm so glad that she talks about not getting lost in intellectualism, because this is a pet peeve of mine, that I have a hard time when people get all up into their concepts and the books they read and da 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 da. And so there's a guy I follow who he's, his background is Buddhism, and he said, well, I'm going to start having a meditation every Tuesday. And I do this international meditation on Sunday, then I absolutely love it. It's so wonderful, 2:00 on Sunday. All you have to do is join intentionally, and it's really quite beautiful. And so I thought, well, this would be great. I'll do another international meditation on Tuesdays. How great. So I tuned in his meditation at the time as a Zoom call, and he was sitting there talking about these texts, and he was going on and on about stuff, and I just went, where's the meditation? But he was just all into these intellectual concepts, and when it gets lost up and caught up in there, it's almost like a trap. It's like you're not really living it. It's only up in your mind. So she says, so we describe yourselves to you to help you understand and appreciate your own divinity. Perhaps there is a school that teaches this, but too often any spiritual discipline relies on language, intellectual thought, and concepts to pass on teachings. When concepts get stuck in the mind, often the teachings do not fully sink in because they get lost in the intellectual mind. The thoughts and concepts are present, but the heart and fullness of spirit are not touched, as if a wall is built between the intellectual mind and the rest of the being. Do not let these messages, these teachings, get stuck in the intellectual mind. Instead, allow these concepts, these images, to flow freely throughout you. This way you can easily feel the great and limitless love that moves through all natural forms. Allow yourself to be permeated with this glorious love, and you will see with your mind's eye that this love appears as very bright light. So when we speak of light, we are using the visual image of love that flows through all. Remember not to block or hold onto this love, but instead to let it freely flow. This is the nature of love. It constantly moves in its never-ebbing waves of light, through all matter, all beings, all places, all times. This also illustrates the fallacy of separateness. A person can feel separate, yet the light of love of divinity flows through them, through the web of life that interconnects all beings, all forms, all life. All is connected in the web of divinity, the web of light, the web of love that constructs everything. If you ever feel small or insignificant, this is because of wrong thinking and negative emotions that you have allowed to infiltrate your mind. Everyone is an integral part of the fabric of life. Everyone makes up the colors and textures of this magnificent tapestry. So this is kind of a great reminder that we don't want to fall into that trap of intellectualism, to actually live as love. Couple more readings. I hope you're okay with this. Everybody okay? How about over here? You okay? All right. Just want to check. Make sure everybody's okay. Anybody need a drink or anything? Some water? Okay. So, love truly is all around you. Ooh, nice. I like that. You know, that's really nice to remind ourselves. Love truly is all around you, yet you live your life as if it comes only in fragments, at intervals. You do not maintain your appreciation of the incessant nature of love, how it never ebbs, wanes, or is diminished. People often say that love grows, but this only refers to their perception that is growing. Love remains constant, infinite, and flowing through all natural life, all natural elements. It is only that humans choose not to see the higher truths, the love that flows through them and through everything. It does help to take a few minutes each day to consciously focus on this truth, to see the infinite love, to feel its blessing, and allow yourselves to be moved by the unbridled beauty and joy. Even a few minutes of recognition each day will help as you walk your human path up into illumined realms and back towards Source. We would ask that you remember that you are love. Love is not a removed and disconnected concept or an emotion that is expressed now and then. Love is a constant, unlimited energy that is always available, like a stream that never runs dry. When you allow yourself to be more conscious of the energy of love, you will feel far more grounded and at peace, for then you are in the flow, the great flow of eternal abundance. If you stop and question these higher truths, you stop your perceptions of this flow as if the flow itself has ceased, but it is only about perceptions. Because modern humans focus their attention on the outer world of mundane activities, they perceive the higher truths as something remote, something that is only realized occasionally when they allow themselves a rare moment of stillness and reflection. You may ask, in my busy life, how can I maintain this place of peace and stillness which allows the higher truths to unfurl? This level of living can only be achieved by setting your intention to do this and maintain your focus. So this part, to me, it's so when you channel anything, I figure that, some people, there's a lot of it's going to be greeted by a lot of skepticism. A lot of people will be like, well, yeah, she's crazy, and I think when you hear these messages, you can say, well, it doesn't sound like it's a crazy person saying this. And I think a lot of people think, well, she's lying. She's a liar. She's made this up. She wants attention or whatever. And at first, that might seem like, well, what an insult that someone thinks I'm a liar. But it's kind of a backwards compliment, because apparently they think I know all this stuff and that I speak so beautifully as she does. So it is a backwards compliment. But here's a good example of some stuff that I really don't know, and it's sort of beyond me. There's definitely some parts in this book that are beyond me, beyond my comprehension. And so she says, basically, this refers to the higher plan. an electromagnetic blueprint that holds all of creation, the universe, in perfection. The divine will calls to your soul, your higher self, as in truth you want to be in accord with the higher will. This is only natural. So when your higher self calls to you and you hear that voice, you are heeding the call of the divine will. The divine will urges all life to follow the plan that leads all beings upward in evolution and ultimately back to source. You do not need to accept what I am describing. You should not let these concepts cause any confusion or disruption in your human life path. Rather, I am describing the overarching realities that govern all. Humans do not need to believe in these concepts or even be aware of them, yet these higher truths continue. You do not need to believe in anything I say, yet the truths I impart are absolute and unfailing. Oh, I wish I talked like that. That's so like talk about confidence, like you don't have to believe anything I say, but that's what it is. It's still the truth. And I think that's pretty cool. So maintaining focus can be a challenge. She says, when I say that you are a being of love and light, I am describing a being comprising energy. This is what you are made of. Energy is what you generate out into the universe every second. You beam out your great light or other kinds of energies such as envy, fear, hatred, inadequacy. Many illumined ones take time each day to sit in silence and meditate or contemplate upon their own beautiful energy. This is wonderful. But what kind of energy does each person generate the rest of the time? Recognizing how this works will help people keep their focus on higher thoughts and higher realities. Much of the information generated through electrical channels, i.e. media, is focused on lower vibrations, the ugliness that humans perform, the tragedies inflicted on earth. If you place your focus too much on these negative images, the mind can begin to believe that this defines the nature of life. All too often, this is the case. This is why I continue to urge you illumined ones to focus on higher truths, on the beauty of life, the bliss of divinity, the kindness and compassion that humans can produce. Trust and surrender versus control. We're almost at the end here. So to me, this is so important because, again, we're so used to, we think we're in control of our lives. You look at somebody and you think, oh, they're out of control, as if that's a negative thing, right? Oh, that person's out of control. Being in control is a good thing. But when you're in control, you're kind of blocking all the good energies and blocking, it's like you're putting up a wall that you have to control. And that's an outmoded belief that we don't need. And so doing this, going through surrender it's alien to us. We're not really used to that at all. It's like surrender. I don't want to be vulnerable. I don't want somebody to take advantage of me. So we have to wrestle around with these concepts because we are becoming New Age people. Being open to the future rather than controlling outcomes will truly help you walk through this time of change. When the world around you is changing, how can you predict what will happen next? How can you predict how you should respond accordingly? You must develop greater trust. You must allow yourself to live consciously within this place of trust, with the firm belief that all will be well, all is coming to you, all blessings are yours now and in the future. You must trust in the ultimate truths that govern all. Without this trust, you will feel lost and confused and unsure how to tread upon your path. Trust the knowing of you. You are held in care and love. Let yourself go and enjoy this immense freedom and joy. So, I don't know if you can tell, but I've only touched upon the first half of the book. I haven't really gone into there's just so much on here. It was challenging for me to pick what I should share. But I did want to share with you how she ended the book because it's so beautiful and so loving. So when I would transcribe a message each day, I was tuning into her, and so I wasn't really looking at the screen. I wasn't focused on the screen, and so there would be lots of typos. So after I transcribed a message, I would read it back and I would fix all the typos. And quite often I would cry. I would tear up because the message was so beautiful and so loving. And so I wanted to share how she ends the book. You are great and glorious, and you have a powerful purpose that fuels your life and its progression. Allow yourself to move through each day with ease, pleasure, and joy, and do not fall into others' concepts and pictures that they paint, their version of truth. Your version of truth is what matters, and you know deep within you what is true. To clearly see higher truth, you only need to cut away the Maya and delusions, shadows of the lower realms. Then you can see truth, yourself, purpose, nature as it actually is, without the cloud of shadow. Practice this way of seeing each day, particularly when you meditate, but any time you are relaxing and thinking higher thoughts. The more you see in this way, the more you will easily discriminate between the lower and higher realms, and the more you will not want to slip into the lower realms of ugliness and pain. There is much to accomplish on planet Earth. Much needs to be done to heal nature and restore practices of wisdom and sense. But please do not despair at the present conditions. Instead, see Earth being restored, replenished, and healed. Your visions will help this effort. As I have mentioned, I always bless you at each moment. So tune in to me whenever you like, and remember to aim high in all your thoughts and deeds. I bless you endlessly and shower my limitless love upon you always. So when I used to teach writing, I used to teach freshmen in college. It was a required course, and I had these freshmen, and they had to take the class. They didn't. Most of them didn't want to take a writing class, and most, if not all of them, thought they couldn't write. They were no good at writing. They had, they just couldn't do it. They weren't able to write. And so the first day of class, I would go up to the board and I would write in big letters, KISS. Keep it simple, students. And I taught them how to very simply organize their thoughts and create a flow through their paper. And it was always astounding each semester, the difference between their first paper and this paper at the end of the semester, because if you keep it simple, people get it. They're like, yeah, I got it. Oh, okay, that's all I have to do is organize my thoughts. Oh, I can do that. And I think that also connects to us as spiritual beings. We can get caught in all these intellectuals and concepts and struggle and wrestling around. But it's quite simple. We are beings of love and light. We don't want any darkening. So each moment of each day, each thing that we think or do, we want to be this bright light of love. And we have all the tools we need. So we don't need to go out and get something from somebody or somebody's going to help me do that. You have it within you. And if you think that you need somebody else to help you do it, you're kind of giving away your power to believe that, because you're not trusting you and trusting in your own glory and your own power and your own vision and your own knowingness. And I think that's so interesting. So often she talks about trusting yourself, because a lot of times we weren't raised to trust ourselves. We were raised that we have to, let's go to experts. The experts know. This person has a PhD. They're an expert, so they know stuff. And what do I know? I don't have a PhD. So, trusting ourselves, I think, is really, really important as we look at ourselves as spiritual beings. And this note here, pediatrician, nurse. So when I had my first kid, I was in LA. My pediatrician was Paul Fleiss. I don't know if you remember Heidi Fleiss, the Hollywood madam, was her father. He's a nice man. And and he had this lovely nurse, and she was talking about breastfeeding. And I always remember this image that she took her hands and she was trying. I was already, saying, oh, no problem, I'm going to breastfeed. But she said, it's so important. She had an accent, and she said, it's so important to breastfeed, because the baby gets a complete nutrition. The baby gets its complete nutrition, and that is us. We are complete. We are whole. We're not missing anything. We don't need anything from anybody else. We have everything we need. We are whole and complete. So This is something I wrote last Sunday when I was putting together the slides. I don't know if we want to do questions or I'll read this quickly. Now you have the whole picture, the whole truth. You are whole, complete, enlightened, renewed. You know where you're going and how to get there. The journey is the point. Journeying through this human experience, mastering each turn and bump, holding fast to your true self, that glorious being of love and light. That is all your path requires, all that the universe asks of you. Sail through this human experience as if the world is spinning in your hand. Your focus remains high and fastened on the higher truths, the ultimate realities. You bask in the bliss. These truths unfold. You are complete. Thank you again. Really appreciate that you're here.